Welcome back to another episode of the Muffed Punt podcast. My name is Brandon, and this week we got the schedules, folks. We're going through them. The way too early predictions for the 2021 season. We're here. We're going to check them out. We hope you guys enjoy. How we doing tonight? We got Paul and Terry in the house. How we doing, gentlemen?
It's going to be a dominant performance. I'm going to crush Terry.
I don't know, man. So Terry sometimes will surprise you. You got to watch out. It's that dark horse performance.
I don't like that. I want someone consistently mediocre. And Terry has peaks like Everest, and I don't like it because I can't compete with that. I just can't. I know my limitations. I know my limitations. I'm a Mountain Denali guy. Like, sure, I might be big somewhere, but there are places like that will just destroy me. And Terry is one of those places.
Gotta watch out for that sleeping giant, bro.
I know. You never know how Terry's gonna make out on here. This is I don't like it. Ebbs and flows. Not a fan.
Oh man! So we got the schedule for the Eagles and for the Packers. We're going to go through each one and just kind of talk about our way too early predictions for each team. I think this is going to be interesting. We were kind of talking about it before the episode because it's like, how do you do this? Like the Eagles have no clue who anybody. We don't even know what offense or defense we're running yet for 1,000%. The Packers don't even know who their quarterback's going to be, possibly heading into the season.
That's a dick move to bring up so early in the show. Like I said that we could do the Eagles specifically first, so you wouldn't do that. So I'm going to tank this show now. I'm going to be a brat, and I'm not okay with this. I'm not.
So, but it's
not okay with it.
We went through for each team, and I helped out Paul since Nate is not with us today, and we kind of went through each one. So Paul's been gracious enough for now to allow for the Eagles to go first. So we're going to start off with the Birds. And so, Terry, when you looked at the 2021 schedule for the Eagles, what did you think? Did you think when you first looked at it, hey, not so bad? Or did you have any thoughts like, oh man, this might not go so well for the Eagles?
I don't think it's that tough of a schedule, but the Eagles are the big question in this because I don't think we really know what we have as a team yet. So like, it's hard to kind of make that now, like we're way too early, but I mean, based on their opponents, it's not a tough schedule. And they have to, I mean, they don't have to travel a ton in the second half of the season. Like, I think it's after week 9 or 10. I think they're at the Giants, at the Jets, Washington at home, Giants at home, at Washington, Cowboys at home. So they really don't have to travel at all in that last section. So that normally would be a huge benefit, especially in a stretch run. I think that's really,
And you got that super late bye week.
Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know about that. I think the late bye week is kind of a tough thing. I mean, they got to play 13 games in a row before they get a break. I mean, I heard something that they generally choose the teams that they think are going to be pretty bad to have a super late bye. So that's not a good sign.
Look how many early games, how many 1 o'clock games there are. There are a ton of 1 o'clock games. Now I know they flex games, but you can just tell by the schedule times they don't think this team's going to be very good.
No, definitely not. This is like I think this is the first time the Eagles haven't had more. I think this is the first time since 2000 that the Eagles haven't had more than 3 primetime games.
And the primetime games don't look too good for us either.
No, they don't.
So let's go through it super quick. So week 1, we got the Falcons. I have this one as a win. I say early, quick victory for the Birds. What do you think for the Falcons week 1?
So I said at the Falcons. I mean, this is a coin flip game for me because I think it could definitely go either way. But I took this one. The Eagles haven't had great success in Atlanta, especially in openers against Atlanta. So I put this one down as a loss.
Okay, so week 2, San Francisco. I have a big L on this one.
I don't have an opinion on this.
Sorry, Paul. Go ahead, but I didn't know if you had a week by. So what do you think? Week 1 for the Falcons, but thank you for chiming in. My apologies.
Well, they're going to win because Julio's not going to be there. So that's a win.
I think dealing with Matt Ryan again, and if the Falcons do deal Julio, I do think it'll be interesting to see how that offense can kind of peel off. And I have no real big oh man, I'm scared of this on any kind of members of the Falcons defense. So
yeah, I feel like if they trade Julio, then it definitely would have me leaning toward choosing a win. But if he's still there, I just don't think the Eagles have the horses in the back end of the defense to stop all of those weapons that the Falcons have, even with Matt Ryan slinging it. But
even if he's still in Atlanta, there's a 45% chance that he plays. I mean, the dude's injured I don't know, more than anybody.
Yeah, but this could be his only healthy game of the year. It's the opener. I mean,
come on, Julio has spent
at least they get him for a half.
Julio has spent more time not playing than, I don't know, Alex Smith. I think Alex Smith ended up playing more games last year than Julio. Come on, that's not fair. You are so low rough on the Eagles.
No, not really. You'll see. I think I don't think they're going to come out of the. I think they're not going to come out of the gate strong, but I think they're going to get their wins in there. But I just don't like them against the Falcons on the road to open a season. This is the fourth time that they've played the Falcons in an opener in probably the last 10, 15 years, and I think they've lost all of those games. So I don't
15 years wasn't Mike Vick there 15 years ago? Come on, this is such a different team.
Numbers don't lie.
Wait, for which team? He was on both teams.
Yeah, that's true.
We're talking about before or after prison. I don't remember.
Dominant performance by Michael Vick. For which side?
All right, so week 2, we got the 49ers. I already said I have that as a loss. What do you think, Terry?
I actually have this as a win.
Oh, wow. All right. So
it's the first home game in the Link
game. Okay.
In a while. The crowd's going to be crazy, and the 49ers are going to be coming across the country. Who knows if it's going to be Trey Lance, young quarterback, coming out. I'll take the Eagles at home with a crazy crowd on this.
I would almost be willing to
start that game.
Yeah, I was going to say I'd almost be willing to put a wager on that it was going to be Jimmy G.
I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, I'd rather it be Jimmy G, to be honest with you, but it still would be only his Trey Lance's second game. I'm going with the fan base energizing the Eagles into the win on this one.
I gotcha. I don't find it as laughable as Paul does, but I still don't think that they're going to come through with a victory on this one. Do I even need to ask you, Paul? What do you think?
I think that Nick Bosa is going to have more sacks than Jalen Hurts has touchdowns, so I don't think that that's going to fare well for them. It's the second week, so it's too early in the season for even Jimmy G to be injured. And even if he is injured, Trey Lance is a project that I don't see how the Eagles win this game. San Francisco, that's a scary team that not that long ago was really racking up those playoff wins. So I think that San Francisco wins this handily. I don't see how the Eagles make it out of this game.
All right, so week 3, we got Dallas Cowboys. That's going to be that's our first primetime game. I said for myself, this hurts, but I'm going to give this game to Dallas. What about you, Terry?
I have it as a loss as well. The Eagles haven't fared well at Jerry World recently, and I think they lose this one on the road there.
Paul?
Yeah, I've got them splitting with Dallas this year. I've got them splitting pretty much with all division teams, but I've got them losing at Dallas in prime time without a lot of marquee talent on the roster that we can see as of yet. So I think that Dallas wins this one at home.
Next one up, we have Kansas City Chiefs, 1:00 game. I don't see us beating the Chiefs and Andy Reid. I think it's going to be a rough start for the Birds, man. Terry's got them basically going 1-3. I have them going 1-3. It's just, for me, I think it's going to be tough for the Philly market. The WIP is going to be a hard listen the first couple weeks. Might want to leave them alone for the first few weeks of the football season.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I did. This one was like a deadlock that they're going to lose this game. There's no doubt about it. But it'll be fun to see. Fun to see Andy back in Philly.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Maybe we can get him a cheeseburger cheesesteak.
Yeah. He could probably wear a Hawaiian shirt on the sideline during this one. I mean, he really won't have to worry about this game. I don't think.
That's true. Can we get him his Hall of Fame jacket? We'll just get him, we'll let him wear it on the sideline.
Let's not go that far, but yeah,
it'll be like when
we win this.
All the Philly teams who trade players away and they do really well, and then they come back and we got to do that, the big montage on the huge screen so that everybody can see how great they were once we let them go.
Yeah, God.
How many times have I had to sit through that crap? Paul, do I even need to ask?
I think that the Chiefs are going to win this one. I think the Chiefs are going to be real good next year. I see an AFC Championship rematch between the Chiefs and the Bills. So yeah, I think the Eagles really do have a tough first 7 weeks, but then after that, I think a lot of winnable games are there for them.
Yeah. So week 5, we have for me what I think is the first winnable game against the Panthers. Again, a 1:00 game. For me, this would be the second win on my schedule for the Birds for our way too early picks. For Terry, I think we'll find out. What do you think, Terry? No, you're picking Carolina in this one.
I have this one as a loss. Yeah, I just another team that always seems to have gives the Eagles problems is Carolina, and now that they're going to have, they have McCaffrey back. I think the last time the Eagles played Carolina, I think McCaffrey had 2 scores in the fourth quarter, and I think the Eagles blew a 17-point lead at home against Carolina. That was before they had all the pieces and the draft picks that they have now. I think the Eagles lose this one. It'll be a fun matchup though, because we will get to see Devontae Smith versus J.C. Horn. I think that'll be an interesting matchup within the game. But I had this one marked down as a loss. Not a good first 6 weeks for the Eagles.
But what about Sam Darnold?
You can't
Sam
take
Darnold.
my point before you let me pick the game. Come on.
I knew that's what you were going to do. I was even going to preface it by going, hey, let me do my Paul impersonation.
Oh, man, dude. This is a couple weeks away and you're just a brat, dude. Like, that's not cool. What's up with that?
Oh, I'm sorry, bud. It's but yeah, man, it's spot on. I think it's going to be a pick'em game for this one, but I still feel like it's a possibility that the Birds could pull this one out. I really don't know what Sam Darnold's going to do with the Panthers. I think it's
pronounced nothing.
Man, there's a lot of people that disagree. So for me, I'm going to be interested to see if all the people that want to keep flapping about Darnold, like Colin Cowherd, will finally stop talking.
But all those people who are flapping about him now are the same ones who are high on him. He's going to turn the Jets around. The Jets are going to do great things with him. Like, does everyone just forget that these things called films that we have where we can go and review just how poorly he played in New York? Second year head coach. So just come on, new system. There's no way that Darnold beats the Eagles in that game. I would.
Did you guys see that Robert Saleh said after practice he sat there and was waiting for the head coach to talk, and then he was like, "Oh crap, I'm the head coach."
Oh wait, that's me.
That's a great start for the Jets there. What were you going to say, Terry?
No, I like Matt Rule. He's built a solid culture at all of the stops that he's made throughout his college career. He's always ended up having, winning and getting elevated to the next level. Now he's on there. I like the offense coordinator, Joe Brady. So that's the only thing that I can see is where there's hope for Darnold.
Culture builder. Come on. The only thing that he had to do at Baylor was tell kids, hey, stop going to frat parties and stop getting sexual assault allegations. And that's it. And he did it. And then he got a promotion. So I'd hesitate to call that guy a culture builder when he just said, "Hey, stop breaking the law."
Hey,
at least he got him to stop.
Yeah, it takes a coach to identify a systemic issue and put that thing to bed.
All right, now stop it so I can get promoted to my next job.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, guys, I know like Waco, Texas is not a lot of fun. I don't want to be here either. Stop doing this so I can get out of here like you. 4 years and done.
Yeah, let's go get some things and then go get some W's and then we'll all get the hell out of here.
Yeah, let's win the Big 12 and we'll all get the hell out of here.
All right, so back to the Eagles who got week 6. This one is going to be rough. Primetime game versus the Bucks. I definitely have this as a loss. What do you guys think?
Loss. They're bringing their whole team back. We're not winning that one, even at home. And it's on a short week. No.
Yeah, I've got it as a loss too. And how good is that? How does Tampa Bay not get close to repeating next year they brought back everybody. That's going to be, and I mean, you're going to have a real off season now for Tom Brady where he gets to like know the guys and know the system. Cause a lot of the Bucks bad games last year were early in the season when like they didn't have the routes down or anything. So like Brady had more interceptions in the first half of the season than he typically does in a full season because receivers weren't doing what he thought they were going to do or what he wanted them to do. So the Bucks are going to be scary next year.
Yeah, very much agree. So this is going to be an interesting one. Week 7, we have the Raiders at the 4:05 game. This one I kind of going back and forth with a little bit, kind of struggled with, but I'm going to end up giving it to the Birds. I think that it could very easily go the other way, though. But it's hard for me to have faith in Gruden because Gruden will either, like, if they don't put the game away early and make us so the Birds can't come back, then I feel like that's could come back and bite them because I just don't have a ton of faith in Gruden as a coach.
Yeah, no, I agree. I took this as a win as well, and the Gruden factor. I don't know. I just don't, even at this point in the season, I feel like the Eagles will, start putting things together. These are winnable games, the next few games on the schedule at this point. So if they can get out of their losing ways here, then they could really make some momentum down the stretch. So I think this is where they start to, turn it around. They had a rough start, and then this is where we're going to start to see some more. We're going to start to see some wins.
I've got this as a win for the Eagles in a game that I feel like they should lose, but this feels like a game that Gruden knows he should win, so he's going to lose it. I
love that we're all in agreement and for roughly around the same reason.
This feels like a Gruden loss to me, and it blows me away because I feel like he's got a pretty talented team with him. So I feel like it's just got to be his coaching style, whether he gets, I don't know, too angry or let's off the pedal or something, but it's a game that I feel like Las Vegas is more talented than the Eagles are. But I think that this is a game where as long as the team hasn't given up, like if they've started off really rough, sometimes teams will end up finishing the season real bad. I mean, Terry, you've been in locker rooms, I'm sure, before where like, you've got to hold it together when you get through those rough patches. And then
it could fall apart real quick.
Exactly. So as long as the team is still together and the Eagles are good. So I think a lot of that's going to come down to leadership in there. So like, and I think that depending on how things go with quarterback play, if Jalen still has the starting position here, I think that he is a guy that they can build around, at least even just for a season or two. But I think that his leadership that he had at Oklahoma and at Alabama can hold the team together. So if they're still able to do that, then I think the Eagles win this one.
Is it far-fetched to say that, I mean, purely knowing absolutely bare minimum about this as far as, because we don't have a lot of time with these guys, But just looking at what I've seen so far, I feel like I have more faith in Jalen being somebody the team could rally behind than I do our head coach. Our head coach, to me, the whole like rock, paper, scissors thing and all that stuff, like that feels like to me that could get so old so fast. Like, yeah, it's cool and cliche or, niche like in the beginning, but I feel like that could get really annoying.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that I do like some of the stuff that's come off, like the head coach Sirianni's come off a bit corny. But from everything that they say about him behind the scenes is that he's like a football rat and he just wants to like he's all about the game. Like that's like he like lives in the football, the like football 24/7. So, if he might be this like rah like energetic guy, okay, yeah, that can get annoying for fans, but like, in a situation like this where you're starting off potentially 1-6, or whatever, 1-5, whatever it ends up being.
Pretty damn close, yeah. Either way.
I feel like it might not be a bad thing to have a kind of guy like that that's going to keep trying to stay positive. And, it's from everything I've seen from Jalen Hurts so far, that this guy seems like he's ready for the challenge in this situation. I think, he knows they're giving him the opportunity to win this job. And, from hearing him talk in some of the press conferences and stuff, he just seemed ready for it. So, I mean, I think they're going to go through the rough stretch at the beginning. I looking at some of the defenses that he's going to face, though. I mean, he's definitely going to have the opportunity to throw the ball a little bit. Obviously Atlanta's secondary sucked last year. So did Dallas's. So Carolina and their defense is still a work in progress. So he should be able to put up some numbers, but I kind of think that this will be the turning point game. Well, and then whichever way this Raiders game goes is kind of the way the season's going to go. If they can right the ship here, maybe get a win or two, then they might be able to, turn around and start to end the season on a high note. You guys had mentioned earlier about Gruden screwing the game up. So here's my early prediction about how this is going to go. They're gonna throw the ball. They're gonna feed Darren Waller the ball in the first quarter, and he's gonna eat the Eagles alive. Then all of a sudden, you're not going to hear from him again. And everybody on TV is going to be like, the top. What happened? Waller had 10 catches in the first quarter. What happened to him? Gruden's got him on the sidelines. That's just because we know the Eagles' recent history against really good tight ends, and they are terrible. But that kind of popped in my head. I'm like, yeah, I think that could be something. Gruden's like, yeah, he's got 10 for 150 and a touchdown. Yeah, you know what? He's done. Give it to somebody else. Throw it the rugs deep 70 yards every time. And see if that
Classic Gruden. Brandon, I'm actually going to kind of side with Terry on the rah-rah aspect here. And okay. I think that part of that is there's a much different culture in the NFL than there used to be. And for me, the prime example of that is Pete Carroll. So Pete Carroll, his first coaching job, the Giants, I believe, in the NFL, and then he failed pretty hard there. Then he went and then coached at USC and did great things. Heisman, forfeited Heisman's and national championships notwithstanding, but he did great things there. And then when he left there, which was perfect timing from him just to get away from all this stuff with the boosters. Look at where he went with Seattle. Seattle was nothing. They didn't have a lot, but they drafted a lot and had a lot of young guys on the team. And younger guys are those rah-rah guys, like especially in this newer generation than where they used to be, which is, I think, where the Eagles are right now. So if you have a bunch of guys and they can rally behind that rah-rah guy, the way that Richard Sherman, that Russell Wilson, the Legion of Boom, they were all young guys. And they developed and they grew together where Pete grew as a head coach. So I think that while Sirianni doesn't have the USC stop or anything like that on his resume, I think that there's a decent chance that being the rah-rah guy even if it just lasts a year or two before it wears off, that it could really help him out.
Yeah, I love that point of view. I just feel like for me, if I live in that, and I just know from like, and I obviously not a sports person that played sports. I was just a guy that, worked in corporate America. When I have a super rah boss and things just suck, that I have such a short fuse for that. It's like, it just does it like after a while, like, I'm good.
Yeah, but working at corporate America isn't playing a game for a living. Like these guys are getting paid to play a game. And I think that we forget about that because there's so much of, I guess an economy that goes into this when you've got the kind of money and power that goes along with the NFL. So I just feel like it's a lot different than corporate America in the aspect of course you don't want the rah guy as a boss in the office. I mean, think about how many people in corporate America actually love their jobs. Not that many. Think about how many kids grow up, want to play in the NFL, and then they end up doing it and they love it. So I think that they're completely different worlds. So and trust me, I understand. And I'm sure there's a ton of guys like, if you give Aaron Rodgers a rah coach, I think he'd probably punch him in the face. I think if Aaron Rodgers could handpick his coach's attitude, it would be Bill Belichick's, where like, it doesn't exist. There's no emotion here. We're just here to play football. But I just think when you've got younger guys that's something that can really help out.
Fair point.
Yeah.
And speaking of, go ahead, Terry.
Yeah, just last thing on that, but I was just going to say, with the Eagles locker room being so young, I mean, their team got really kind of turned over as far as age pretty quickly. I mean, they have a few vets on the offensive line, but there's a lot of young talent that they've drafted in the last couple of years, and maybe this is the kind of the guy that they're looking for, because it seemed like everything got stale with Doug last year, so. Maybe this is a breath of fresh air for some of these guys to get an opportunity. So
I think it's a lot like basketball, where you've got like with the playoffs going on right now, you've got rookies or first timers in the playoffs doing things that it doesn't feel like they should. And I think it's just because they're young and dumb and don't realize how big the moment is. And I think that that's something that you can get caught up in.
All right. So speaking of a whole different world, as Paul was mentioning, we got week 8, Detroit. It's going to be a whole different world for Detroit. Did you hear Coach Dan Campbell of the Detroit Lions wanted to get an actual lion? He wanted them to have a pet lion.
He wanted to walk out with it to practice.
I mean, that would be inspirational. I mean, if my coach could walk out with a lion and not get eaten, like Tiger Guy or whatever, I feel like I'd be all over that.
just make sure that bitch Carol Baskins doesn't show up and you're good.
Dude, he's getting serious with his biting off kneecap shit. Like,
yeah, dude, for real. Oh man, eviscerating kneecaps. So I have this as a win for the Birds, regardless of the lion or not.
But Jared Goff, he's so good.
I don't know, man. I really I want Jared Goff to do good things, but I just my lack, or my feeling that it's going to happen is very little, because I have to say that I would feel like McVay is going to be a better coach than Campbell, and I feel like the overall team is going to be better in LA than what it is in Detroit. So if you couldn't do good there, why would you do good in the other place? But it doesn't mean I can't. I'm always pulling for the underdog.
I don't know. I think that Jared Goff is. Let's see. He's got the attitude of Aaron Rodgers with the talent level of Jay Cutler. So we'll see how that goes.
I've never watched. I don't even think I've seen a single Jared Goff interview. I couldn't say that I could say anything about his personality.
I watched when the Rams were on Hard Knocks.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
Oh, see, I missed that one. I have to go back and watch it. Was it a good? I didn't see that Hard Knocks. Was it good?
It was pretty good. That's where I really realized just how big of a man Aaron Donald is when you've got him next to other people and he's like the biggest guy. Like, that's scary.
I guess I'll have to go back and check that out, because then I feel like I'd have a much better idea as to the relationship with Goff and McVay and all that. Did you get to see a lot of McVay in action?
Well, it was before McVay. It was with Jeff Fisher.
It wasn't. No, they went back and did it again.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought they just did it.
When they
I'm thinking
you're thinking of the St. Louis one when they first got him. And like he wouldn't bring him on. No, this was the second time when they last year they did it on both of the Los Angeles teams because everything was just opening up there. So yeah, no, you got to go watch that one because Jared Goff it is not a coincidence that he got caught saying that he wanted to pipe McVay's wife or whatever she is. Like that is Jared Goff to a T. And think about it. That's also Jay Cutler to a T. So
that's true. Jay Cutler got 1,000% better when he stopped playing football. All right. So are we all in agreement? Win for the Birds for this week?
Yeah, I have this a win. I have this as one of the lock wins of the year.
Yes. Yeah. Same. I don't see the Lions winning this.
This to me is the only time I have them going back-to-back wins. All right, week 9, Chargers 4:05 game. It's at home. I still have this as an L. I think the Chargers are going to continue to pick up where they left off, other than I feel like they may stumble this year a little bit, but I'm not going to doubt Herbert until he gives me a reason to, because I doubted him coming into the NFL, and boy, did he prove me wrong. So what do you guys think?
This one was a little tough. It was tough to pick because I feel like there's, Sirianni, I think he came through the Chargers organization. And I know the offensive coordinator Steichen, he was there last year with Herbert. So they'll have some intel on him to, maybe game plan against him a little bit. But I just from what I saw of the Chargers last year, and I don't know. I just have a feeling that the Eagles are going to lose this one. I think after coming off of 2 wins, maybe they get a little high on themselves, and then Herbert brings them back down to earth. But I think this one is like a 50-50, but I took this one as an L.
Paul?
I don't have it as a 50-50, but I do think that the Chargers are going to win here. I'm very interested in what Justin Herbert does after losing his tight end, because he had great rapport with him, and I mean that's your safety valve. And second year, that's a tough year for quarterbacks because now everyone's got film on you, so they can slow you down a little bit. And then from year 2 to 3 is that huge jump where you see if they're going to be any good or if they're for real. But Justin Herbert did so much better last year than I thought. So I have confidence in that system with the head coaching reboot over there and everything. I really think that's going to pay off, and the Chargers are going to get the win here.
Yeah, I feel like for this is going to be a quick low spot for the Birds on week 9, because week 10, Broncos. And I think they should handily, hopefully, beat the Broncos in this game. I do think Teddy B will be a better quarterback for the Broncos than I feel like Drew Lock. But I still feel like the Broncos have way too many aging pieces and parts that are just not working out for them right now.
Unless Denver has Aaron Rodgers when they play the Eagles, they're
come on.
Oh man, that's more cool than the one that I said earlier.
Come on, that's a deep cut. And also, come on, even Aaron Rodgers couldn't win with this team. Come on.
No, the Eagles.
You could argue that they maybe have you guys. Devontae's a better overall wide receiver than anything Denver has to offer, but Denver has more wide receivers than the Packers do.
Okay, and
you said he couldn't win the game. I'm just saying he might have more weapons over there. That's all.
India has more people than the United States. Would they win an award?
I'm sorry, I can't bring facts and logic into arguments with Paul. I forget sometimes.
That is not a factor. More does not translate into wins, or more is not always better. Ford sells more cars than Ferrari. Which one would you rather have?
Well, Green Bay seems to think more quarterbacks are better, but
well, that's because they're bad.
All right, I don't want to get too much into that before we get into our Packers section, because I'm probably going to beat a dead horse in that instance. Are we all saying win for the Eagles against the Broncos week 10?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. All right, cool.
Even if Rodgers is there. Yes.
All right, so week 11 we have the Saints.
That was such a good katana to just pull out. I mean, you use that as well as like a girl that's angry with you and breaking up remembers just the littlest thing, and then she comes and you're just like your father, and then like it's just like just crushes you. Like that was just Terry is on another level right there.
That thing that makes you go from 0 to 60 real fast.
How dare you?
I told you not to say every time. It's not every time. All right. Week 11. Every time we play the Saints, we usually lose. So I'm going to go with a loss on this one for week 11. Even though it is at home, it's an early game. I don't have nearly as much faith in the Saints this year without Drew Brees because I feel like they're going to have a little bit of time trying to figure out who's really going to be the number one for that team. But it'll be interesting to see what they put together. I mean, obviously, Peyton's a good coach. I still feel like that's going to ultimately pull them through. What do you guys think?
The Saints popped up on a bunch of games that I was looking at, and I don't really know what to make of them. I'm not really sure what they're going to be. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be as good without Breeze, even with an older aging Breeze. But I still have this one as a loss. I know Jalen did beat the Saints last year when the Eagles were not anywhere supposed to even be near them in that game. But I don't know, Sean Payton, hate him. He always finds a way to beat the Eagles.
Is that back-to-back shows that Terry has dropped an F-bomb before me?
Hey man, this all works. It's like I said, as long as you make them count, I'm down.
It's worth it when talking about him.
I think the Saints are going to turn into the Aints, and this is going to be a really rough year for them. I do not think that Taysom Hill is the answer. I do not think that Jameis Winston is the answer. So I don't see them. I don't see the Saints getting on this one.
I think they're likely to still be a good regular season team and then just puff out in the playoffs like they did with Breeze, basically.
How much do you think they regret not keeping Teddy Bridgewater?
I think they're going to before the end of the year, but I think it's hard when you put that much money into Taysom's contract and then you bring in so many guys that I feel like they just had to make a decision sooner than later. And so it's like, it's what sucks about having an embarrassment of riches. Like sometimes you have to pick a part of it and you pick the wrong part.
Yeah, no, I get that. It's just, I think that I think he's a very talented system quarterback. And I think that I mean, as we saw when he came in for an injured Breeze, I think he just would have done wonders with that team. And I don't think anything they have on the roster now can.
I think he did better with them than he did in Carolina.
I think the Saints had a lot more weapons, and when you have Alvin Kamara in the backfield, and you don't have Christian McCaffrey because he's injured,
better offensive line too.
Yeah, so I think that there's a lot that goes into it, and that's why I think that quarterback play is overrated, because there's a lot that goes into making the quarterback look good by a lot of thankless things that others do.
Yeah, I agree with that. So week 12, we have the Giants, the first matchup between the Giants and the Eagles for this particular year. I marked this down as a loss. The Giants are going to have a lot more weapons this year. I feel like the first time the Eagles go against them, they're going to have a lot of motivation to try to make the Birds look bad. So I think that I'm going to hang an L on this one for the Birds. What do you guys think?
I have the Eagles beating the Giants in this one. The Eagles always play well at MetLife Stadium. I mean, it seems like they always win there, and then they end up losing to the Giants at home. So I have them splitting the season series. So I felt like going with the track record of winning in New York. I take them to win this game. I do think the Giants are going to be improved. But I don't like their quarterback, so I don't think they're going to be that much better.
Any dimes? Come on. I think that Saquon's going to be out for the season by this point.
Oh, wow.
What? I wasn't even trying to make like a good one there. I think it's just a fact that
you just said it. You just said it so subtly. I was like, damn. Come on, man. For Saquon.
I wanted him to do great things. I just think that he's just too injury prone. So I think Saquon's out. I think that Danny is terrible. I feel like I don't know, maybe the Giants should have gone after Sam Darnold last year and brought him in, because they have an embarrassment of riches at the talent position. But when you don't have a quarterback who can throw that well, and your running back who's, I mean, let's face it, he, when healthy, is top 5, top 3 maybe in the league, but he's just never healthy. So I've got the Eagles winning this one. MetLife is their second home, let's be honest.
Yeah,
they dominate there, man. They really do.
Next game up is the Week 13 versus the Jets. I have this down as a W for the Birds. What did you guys think about Week 13, 1 o'clock game for the Jets?
Lock of the year win. The Eagles have never lost to the Jets ever.
I don't know if you know facts or anything, but that's not true.
Not in a regular season game. The Eagles have never lost to the Jets.
The Eagles have never lost to the Jets.
Ever. They're 11-0 all time against the Jets.
That's crazy. Well, all right, 12-0.
They play them every year in the preseason, so preseason games, but where they don't obviously count. But
come on,
all time
real.
All time 11-0. They're not going to lose. They're not going to lose to the Jets.
I think the Jets are going to be atrocious this year. And who'd they end up with at quarterback? Who did they take again? I don't even remember.
Zac Efron.
It kind of does look like him. It's some tiny little white Mormon kid.
All right. Well, that's right. Yeah. All right. Well, NFL Efron is not going to win. So, this is going to be another win for the Eagles here. So 3 in a row.
Week 14 is a bye, so we all win there. Week 15, the Eagles come back and they face who is now going to be called the Washington football team, which may be going to be up in the air because they have been talking about changing it again. I still hope Red Wolves. I think that's the coolest one, but we'll see.
And who's going to end up with more lifetime name changes? The Washington whatevers or P. Diddy?
Didn't he just change his name again?
Did he really?
I'm serious. I thought I saw something on like maybe Twitter or something that he like changed his name again.
Remember back when he was the backup to Biggie Smalls? He just cut in the background like, yeah, girl, yeah.
Yeah, but let's also say that he was the smart one because he's the one who started the record label.
Yep. Yeah. No, totally. So I had this as a loss against the Washington football team. I have them splitting the series just like you guys do with a lot of these, but mine are kind of in the reverse to you guys because I thought they would likely lose the early games to the teams and then maybe figure them out down the road. And then plus, like with Dallas, like they usually lose games when they count. So that's why the later games I have down as losses. But what do you guys think?
I have the Eagles losing this one. I actually have the Eagles losing twice to Washington. I think
I have the same thing actually.
I think their defense is just gonna smother the Eagles on offense, even with Devontae Smith and Miles Sanders. That defense has potential to be ridiculously good, and they were good last year, and that was only really their first. There was their first season without any kind of off-season stuff. And the whole COVID thing going on, that their front seven is scary. I mean, they've got 6, 7? Yes, I think 6 out of their front 7 are all first rounders.
Yep, and that's why you see a guy like Ryan Kerrigan come to the Eagles because he just said it's not nothing against the Redskins or nothing against the Washington football team, but he just wanted more playing time.
I mean, I like that pickup for us, by the way. But yeah, I mean, they have an embarrassment of riches rushing the passer and in the box. I mean, their secondary and is still good though. I mean, they're not bad.
I do think you're right that Washington is going to have a dominant defense, but this right here to me is going to tell me everything I need to know about Sirianni as a head coach, because you're coming off a bye, and successful coaches don't lose coming off a bye because you've got 2 weeks to game plan. You're going to be getting, I mean, let's face it, it's the NFL. They're going to be getting somebody who was injured back coming off the bye, regardless of who it is. So they're going to have that. They're going to have the week off, so a little more pep in their step. So I've got this as an Eagles win, actually, thinking that Sirianni's going to have, after the 3 games before, I mean, maybe 4 games before this, that I think they're going to win. So I think you've got a young team believing themselves more. I think that this is the white guy confidence for no reason, where they think that they're a good football team. So I don't think that they're going to realize just how big that this game is going to be. So I think the Eagles win here.
For some reason in my mind, I pictured Tom Segura going up for the dunk, like right before he like wrecked his entire body. That's that confidence you shouldn't have. All right, week 16 we have against the Giants. It is at home. It's a 1:00 game. I had this down as a win. I'm pretty positive I know what you're going to say, Terry, but go ahead and let me know.
Well, yeah, I had them split, and I have it as a loss.
I've got this as a win for the Eagles. I just think at this point, especially if they beat Washington and don't get injured in that game, I just think they're going to be riding high on this one. So I think that this is going to be a win.
Yep, and then you go right back to Washington in the next game at 1:00. I had this down as a loss as well. I'll tell you what, we can wrap it up super quick because we went a little long on the Birds anyway. So like I have the last couple weeks, Washington loss, Giants win, Washington loss, Dallas win. That's basically how I figure the season's going to wrap up. It's still going to be a losing overall record of 8-9 for me, but I still feel like with the NFC East, who knows?
That's true. Very true.
So, I don't mean to kind of cut things off there, but what do you think, Terry, for the last like couple games there?
No, well, I have them losing to Washington, losing to the Giants, losing to Washington, and winning against the Cowboys in the last game of the season. And I have them finishing. I have them at 7-10. I looked over the schedule over a few times, and I mean, there's a few games in there that I picked as losses that I think they could win. So I mean, I could easily see them being like 9-8, but I don't really think. I think that's kind of the ceiling, is probably 9 wins.
My first go through without like barely even thinking about it, just first thing that comes to mind, I had them 9-8. And then I was like, nah. I went back and looked at it again. And then I was like, yeah, 8-9 sounds a little bit better to me. What about for you, Paul?
I've got them coming back down to earth and just getting destroyed in Washington. Like, for you boxing fans out there, I feel like this is going to be the no Moss fight, where
like the first Clubber Lang fight.
Yeah, it just comes out, and then it's just like what happened. And I don't think this is going to be close. Like I feel like this is when the freshmen play varsity. They're going to come out. They're going to end up like just sitting there, rocking back and forth in the fetal position, asking themselves after the game, what happened? Are they still NFL players? Do their mothers still love them? Like, it's just, that's how I feel it's going to be for the Eagles this week. And then they're going to go to Dallas, or they're going to be home against Dallas for a win. So I've actually got them most likely ending up at 9-8. And to me, that's, unless Washington just does really good things out of the division, I think that 9-8 might win.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like it's, for the way too early predictions, I feel like it's not too bad to kind of fall in that area, because I feel like obviously you got some pick'em games that can happen, and we really have no semblance of an idea as to what's going to happen with the Eagles offense and defense this year. But just kind of like looking at past track records and things of that nature, and just kind of overall feel, I like where we landed. We're going to move on over to Packerland. Packers 2021 schedule. My first thought when I saw this schedule is, man, I think Roger Goodell really wants the Packers and Aaron Rodgers to not get along, because it looks like another NFL MVP laden season for Aaron Rodgers if I look at this schedule. Like, I don't mean to sound like a homer on this, but like there's like maybe 5 hard games that you guys are gonna have to play like this entire year. Like, I was just like, man, like I feel envious of Packer fans this next year. Like, for all the shit that I give you guys in the offseason, it's kind of because you get so much, you have such a great time during the regular season getting to watch all these wins. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens, I think, for you guys, because coming off that MVP year, and I feel like that fire in Aaron's belly has just continued to burn like the whole offseason, that if he does end up playing and being your starting quarterback, that chip's just going to still be on his shoulder, I feel like. So it'll be interesting to see for me what happens. What about for you, Paul? First impressions of the schedule.
Wow. Are you okay over there? Like, did you just have your first period cramp or something? You were so angry for no reason. The Packers have such easy schedules all the time. Oh my God.
I didn't say all the time. I said,
yeah, you did. You just said, no. You said, no, don't be a bitch here.
No, you guys have all of the wins. You get to sit back and enjoy all of the wins all of the time, regardless as to your schedule. You guys have winning records way more often than not. But I'm just saying, I was trying to be nice, man. Shit.
That did not sound like you were being nice. Right?
I was, because I'm saying I'm jealous. If I look at this, there's like, I feel like 5 games you might lose. Other than that, it's almost all locks.
Yeah, I mean, they're spotting you 6 games in the division every year.
Wow. How's that haterade taste over there, Terry?
Oh, I'm not hating it. The division stinks except for the Packers. That's 6 freebies. Take it.
So, yeah, well, we can start off then. So we got the first week is the Saints. They have it at, this is the Central Times for you Packers fans at 3:25. So what do you think for the first week, Paul? I'll let you do the predictions first.
This is going to be a win, I think, either with Jordan Love or with Rodgers in there. And if I'm the Packers, unless Rodgers is going to retire, he's the starting quarterback. So I'd be going in with a mindset that Rodgers is going to play. If he doesn't, then he's just a little bitch. I'm sorry, but at that point, that's all that you are. So I've got this as a win. Rodgers at the helm, and they're starting off strong.
Terry?
Yeah, I mean, I would think this is going to be a win, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going anywhere. I think he's going to be your quarterback the whole season, and I think he's going to have another potential MVP season. So that's just out the gate. Get that out there.
I think he wants a new contract with more guaranteed money, so it hurts more if they let him go. But I will say that if Aaron Rodgers wants a new contract that adds money to his contract, so he's paid higher, he's never going to win another championship. If he wants to win a Super Bowl, he needs to take a pay cut. If nobody learns from Tom Brady, then Tom Brady's going to sit there and collect rings like he's Gollum. I swear, like, this is just ridiculous.
We were going to bring this up a little later, but let me bring it up now. So what do you think that if the Packers were to make a trade for Julio, not at what the apparent asking price is for the Falcons right now, but if it was reasonable and they bought Julio in, do you think that would kind of, bring Aaron back to the team and he'd be happy again?
I think that if Aaron doesn't come back, that Brett Favre will come back to throw to Devontae Adams and Julio Jones. Brett's going to be like, all right, some of these assholes took some of my records, but if I can have that receiving duo right there, I'm going to come back and get some.
Can you imagine that?
So, yeah, I
only thing get his Wrangler jeans commercial back.
Real comfortable. If they can pick up Julio for any, and if I'm the Packers, come on, I would pay a ridiculous price to get a Julio in there. If they can make the numbers work financially and he's willing to like rework a contract with them, if you can have Julio and Devontae, wow, that best duo in the league right there. If they can both stay healthy.
Right. Don't you think that's kind of what the Aaron Rodgers ESPN interview was the other night when he basically went off in this tangent about like people? That was like his way of saying, like, you need to get me people that can help me win these games. Like, I think that was kind of like his underhanded way of mentioning that.
Yeah, but I think a lot of it, I think what's getting lost in all of this is Aaron Rodgers puts up numbers in all these championship games that he ends up losing. It's their defense that just gives up so much that it's hard to compete in shootouts all the time. So while he's upset that he didn't get a wide receiver, drafting defense isn't necessarily a bad thing when they're giving up how many points in a game. Even if you go back to their Super Bowl year that they won in 2010, they had a bend not break defense, so they made big plays when they needed to, but they still gave up a lot. That's just what it is. The Packers are an offensive minded organization. They score a lot of points. They want to play defense. They spend all their draft picks there, but they don't know how to draft defense. And here's how you draft defense. They draft linebackers out of the Big Ten. And if we're going to be honest with ourselves, Big Ten linebackers, that's not what you get out of the Big Ten. If you want the Big Ten, you're getting linemen. You're going to get an occasional great position player out of there. You're going to get people who are good college quarterbacks that have no idea what to do in the NFL, so they're going to make more money than they should have. But let's
decent
face
running
it.
backs.
I said decent running backs.
No.
I said decent position players. Those were running backs. But if you want a linebacker or a really good position player, you go either to the SEC or people who were born or played high school football in California, Texas, or Florida, and you ignore the rest of the country. If this was the Hunger Games, California, Texas, and Florida are districts 1 and 2. Like, those are the careers. Yep. That's where you go for the people who are going to win every single year. Sure, Miami you're going to get a long shot. What was that?
Said just what the Hurricanes did.
Yeah,
exactly. They took kids out of Florida. Like that made it their backyard. And we're getting all the good kids that play in Florida.
And all of them ended up in the NFL and made Jimmy Johnson look like a genius.
Yep.
So that's just what they did. So the Packers just don't know how to draft defense. So that's what their bigger problem is. They develop talent real well, especially on offense, which isn't that hard when you have one of the most talented people to ever do it as your quarterback. But if he wants a raise, he's not going to win. That's just not going to happen.
I think he'll be there as well. I think all of this was just to make the Packers as uncomfortable as possible in the offseason.
Give me Julio. I want Julio. Emilio.
Right, so, week 2, you guys have the Lions on Monday night. Go ahead, Paul. I'm letting you do the first picks.
I don't know why Detroit got a primetime game.
Right.
That shouldn't have happened.
Week 2, Monday Night Football. Come on.
maybe they're banking on like not having that big of an audience yet because people are still doing summer activities, so they don't really care. So it's like, hey, you got Jared Goff. We'll give you a primetime game, and no one watches. But yeah, this is going to be a win for the Packers here. Pretty confident in that. Like Terry said, we usually get spotted 5 or 6 games a year.
Next up, week 3, we have the 49ers. That is the Sunday night game, it looks like. I think for me, this was the one game that I had down as the early loss for you guys.
Yeah, same here. Early loss for the Packers. That defense is crazy. And if Nick Bosa is healthy, which, I mean, he should be, it's only week 3, they're going to come off. They're going to do some dangerous things on that line, make Rodgers really uncomfortable. And he usually doesn't do well, as we saw him play against the Bucks. So I've got this as an early loss as well.
Well, I had the Eagles beating the 49ers, so I'm going to take the Packers to beat the 49ers. They're going to lose. The 49ers are going to be 1-3 to start the season. Not off to a good start, Shanahan.
All right, week 4 we got. Go ahead.
I feel like your hatred of Shanahan is just causing you to make some bad picks here.
I think he's a terrible head coach, but I don't see them winning either one of those games.
Oh, I'm on your side. Yeah, I just think that Terry's letting it get to him.
I'm just being an optimist about it.
All right, week 4, we have Sunday afternoon game against the Steelers. I have this as a W.
Yeah, same here. W. I don't know why they brought back the alleged person but to play quarterback. But yeah, this is going to be a win for the Packers, I think.
I was really surprised. I thought that if this was going to be the year to let him go, I really thought this was going to be it.
I think they're just doing it as a year to clear the cap.
Any thoughts, Terry?
I'll say Packers win here.
Sunday, week 5, we have the early game against the Bengals. Now, Joe Burrow was quite fantastic, but I don't know if his knee is going to hold up this long, but we'll have to see. I mean, it's 5 weeks into the season already, and they didn't really get him any help. So it's either, I still think it's going to be likely a win for the Packers. What do you guys think?
I've got a win for the Packers here. I think that Joe Burrow, when you first see position players, especially, come back off an ACL tear, and it's that fresh, less than a year, the first year coming back, they're a little hesitant. And a lot of them won't push it as hard as they did because they don't know how well it's going to hold up. So early in the season, I think that he's going to be struggling and running for his life still, but he'll have a couple guys to throw to. But yeah, I've got this as a win for the Packers unless Kevin King gives up 500 yards passing, which is possible. Let's be honest. That could happen.
Yeah, I got a Packers win here. It's going to be like Joe Burrow hikes the ball, rolls out right, and just throws the ball as far downfield as he can to get away from everybody.
You've got 4.3 speed. Go get it.
You should have drafted. You should have drafted Sewell.
Next up is going to be week 6 versus the Bears. Do we think it's going to be Justin Fields week 6? What are you thinking, Paul?
I hope so. I am very excited for the Packers' future with Justin Fields playing quarterback for Chicago. So I haven't looked at the Bears schedule, but I think this is going to be a little early to put in Justin Fields unless he just takes the starting job in the preseason. So I've still got it as a win for the Packers because the Bears just, the Bears.
I have it as a win as well. What about you, Terry?
Yeah, I have it as a win, but I don't know. You could see Fields at this in this spot. I don't know. I think the guy that's just their starter right now.
Dalton,
thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know how long. I don't know how long they're gonna roll with him because I don't think he's very good.
I think he's fine, but I don't think he has a lot of talent in Chicago. I think that bringing in Justin Fields this early, unless the Bears are 0-5 coming into this game, I don't see bringing in Justin Fields at this point. He's a project. I don't see how bringing him in here, having him lose his confidence with that many games, as always seemed. Quarterbacks are always so arrogant off the field, and then you get on the field and they get hit a few times and they're sitting there crying like a little bitch. I don't understand it. So I don't think that the Bears are going to win, and I don't think that Fields is going to be in yet.
I think it's possible only because the coach and the GM are basically like competing for their jobs at this point. So I think if they got off to a really rough start, you might see Fields sooner than later, just so they could try to justify sticking around. Week 7, we have the Washington football team. I think this will be a tough game, but I still think I have the Packers coming out on top. What do you think, Paul?
That dominant defense, I don't know how the Packers are going to make out against that because it's not always great. But I don't think Washington has a ton on offense there just now. So I've got the Packers winning here, but I could see that defense being an issue.
I'll go Packers on this one too. I was thinking about it, given their first loss there, but no, I think Rodgers will squeak the win out in this one.
All right, and then week 8 we have the Arizona Cardinals. This is going to be a Thursday night game, so coming off a short week there. What do you think, Paul?
Thursday night games are always such a crapshoot because Thursday night games shouldn't exist. It's such a hard thing to play at that high of a level with that much violence in the game and be able to play again 5 days later. That's asking a lot, and Thursday games are usually a crapshoot. Having said that, Kyler Murray is the exact kind of quarterback that just destroys the Packers year in and year out. because they take those Big Ten linebackers instead of those SEC ones. So Kyler Murray is going to run for just short of 300 yards and pass for like 150. So this is going to be a game where I think the Cardinals just really look a lot better than they are, just because the Packers won't be able to stop Kyler.
Yeah, I have this one down as a loss. Cardinals defense, I think, took a step up in the offseason. So I think it's going to be a tough game for the Packers for sure. Terry?
Yeah, I'm gonna give this one a loss too. I mean, what he said on the short week and having to travel. Yeah, I think this is the first game they lose.
Then they're going to follow that up with another tough game with the Kansas City Chiefs. This one is the Sunday afternoon game, 3:25 for you Central Time people. I have this one down as a loss. What do you think, Paul?
I think that they're going to win this one because they're going to have a little bit longer of a week coming off that Thursday night game. They're going to be a little healthier than usual. I think that Kansas City is obviously very good. I have them going back to the championship game, but Aaron Rodgers usually does pretty good in regular season in games like this. So I think that they're going to beat the Chiefs here. But this is really the only tough stretch that I see in the schedule are these 3 weeks.
That's a tough 3 weeks. Facing those three defenses are going to be, I think Kansas City probably is going to be the lighter side of those defenses, but Washington, Arizona, Kansas City, those are all pretty tough teams to go back to back to back.
Yeah, I just think that Jair Alexander is going to be able to slow somebody down on that offense. And then I don't think that Kansas City's defense is going to be able to stop Aaron Rodgers. So that's why I've got them beating the Chiefs here.
I'm going to go with the Chiefs in this one. They're playing at home. You know, I don't know. I just feel like that after coming off the loss to the Cards, and then having another tough game, I'm just going to go with the Chiefs getting their second loss.
Next game up after that is Sunday as well, Week 10 against the Seahawks. What do you think, Paul?
Home against the Seahawks, Rodgers usually does pretty well. This being really the end of the tough stretch for their season. So I've got this one as a win being at home. If it was in Seattle, I'd have it as a loss. But I think that they're going to go 2-1 in this 3-week stretch, but I mean, let's face it, that could easily be 0-3.
Yeah, I have them winning here. If it was like, I agree with Paul. If it was on the road, I would take the Seahawks. But I think since the Packers are at home in this one, those games are always entertaining. But I think it'll be a close one. But I think the Packers win this one.
I have the Packers winning this game. I think it's probably be a tough game, but this is right around the point in the year where the Seahawks usually cool off pretty hard. So I think it'll be pretty good for the Packers.
That's a good point about them cooling off kind of mid-season for a while.
Week 11, we had the Vikings. This is the early game on Sunday. I have this down as a big old W. What do you think, Paul?
Yep. Big old W here. And I think you've got Kirk Cousins starting to feel the heat. If here we go with being halfway through and them having Kellen Mond on the roster is the kind of next chapter. So I think that Kirk Cousins is likely playing for his life at this point. So I don't think he's got it in him, even with two great wide receivers with Thielen and Jefferson. So unless it ends up being like they're at Minnesota. So yeah, I've got them winning this one at Minnesota.
Same here. Win.
Week 12, I think, is going to be a tough game for you guys. It is the Sunday afternoon game. It is versus the LA Rams. I have this down as a loss. What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I've got this as a loss. Stafford is my MVP pick, my way too early MVP pick, because he's going to have a coach for the first time in his career, and he's going to have legit weapons again, which he hasn't had in quite some time. So I've got the Rams, with that defense and having a competent quarterback now that doesn't publicly, or not publicly, but put it out there and something where you can take a picture or screenshot that he wants to pipe the coach's wife. I just see this. I think the Rams are going to end up representing the NFC in the Super Bowl. So I've got them winning. I've got the Rams winning, losing, Packers losing.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. I think the Rams will win this one. I think they're going to be high powered on both sides. they're going to be a tough team to beat.
So week 13 is your bye week. And again, a late bye week for the Packers as well as for the Eagles. So maybe what we had said earlier about those late bye weeks for terrible teams, maybe that doesn't hold up.
I don't know, but it'll be nice to have a week to dry the tears from after just watching what Aaron Donald does to that Packers offense.
Yeah, well, it won't take long because you guys will have the Bears again, and I'm pretty positive Justin Fields will be starting by week 14. I would if he doesn't, they're going to have a lot better record than I think, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him coming out by that point. What do you guys think?
I agree, and that here we go with those running quarterbacks that give Packers fits. So with Justin Fields in there, if he's able to run.
I think the first game you guys play him, you will likely lose, but then after that, you'll be good.
I think you're so wrong on that.
Really?
Look at all the games that the Packers lost to Kaepernick because Kaepernick ran.
Yeah, that's true. But those were a lot of big games.
I get that, but I mean, it's just the kind of quarterback that does things to the Packers and makes them sit there and cry. So I think Justin Fields starts this game, and I've got this as
off the bye, really? Off the bye
against the Justin Fields led Bears team. Yes.
Wow.
What are you doing?
I still don't know if Matt LaFleur is any good of a coach. Let's face it, we've had back-to-back championship game appearances, but with Aaron Rodgers doing all the crazy things that he does, I still don't know if Matt LaFleur is any good. So yeah, I've painfully got this as a loss.
Man,
wow. Surprising.
Terry, I have this as a win. I feel like if this is the game that Fields starts on a Sunday night national primetime game, he's
against the Packers.
He's going to be in over his head, and it's going to get ugly. And
you're going to see a lot of deer in headlights. Remember that clip that we showed with his feet going over his head? I think that's probably what's going to happen.
He's going to be looking for the guy on the right side. There's a guy wide open down the left side of the field, and then he's going to take off and run and get crushed like he did in the national championship game.
We're going to have
Packers don't have anybody this side of Jair Alexander that can catch him. So,
well, you don't think either one of the Smith brothers could get him?
If he gets out of the pocket, no.
They
can no. Justin Fields is way too fast. No. That's a Midwest thing. Yeah, no. or no, yeah, but yeah, no. The Justin Fields, the only way that I think they'd be able to contain him is if they have their free safety spy him the entire game. And I don't think that you can, I mean, maybe against the Bears because they don't have a lot of talent, but I don't think that you can afford to put a starting safety as a spy because none of their linebackers are fast enough to keep up with Justin. So it'd have to be a safety at that point.
It'll be interesting to see. I might have to, this audio might come back to haunt you. We'll see.
I reserve the right to destroy this episode.
There you go. All right. Week 15, you guys have the Ravens early game on Sunday. I have this down as a win. I have very little faith in the Ravens this year. They came up really tough last year, and I feel like things are probably going to continue in that direction for them. They could not buy talent in this offseason, literally. I think it's going to be a hard year for them. We'll see what happens. What do you guys think?
I think this is a coin flip game because, again, you've got that same quarterback who is going to run, and let's face it, he's better than Justin Fields at everything. So I think with it being in Baltimore and it's starting to be down the stretch, I've got this as a Packers loss here.
I'm going to take the Ravens in this too. It's Ravens are at home. Like you said, Lamar is not Justin Fields, and he's much more of a threat. At least, well, it seems like they gave him some weapons. So, I'm going to go with the Ravens on this one.
I think the wide receiver they drafted, I can't think of his name right now, will do well for them. I just don't think they're going to have enough overall weapons to get that going. I mean, who's the running back now?
Lamar Jackson, which is
I would say I think the Gus bus is gone. I don't even know. All right, so week 16 we have
Dobbins.
Yeah, but he's all right. Yeah,
it's pretty good. Yeah.
So we got the week 16 is the Browns. I think for me could be a possible pick'em game if the Browns get hot and get themselves back in the playoff race again this year. I had this down as a possible L. I'll take the heat on that one, but I just thought it'd be a fun surprise. You never know what could happen when Cleveland actually becomes a relevant team.
I've got this as a big Packers win. This is going to be a dominant performance for them. Cleveland just coming off of getting into the playoffs. Whenever they have expectations, they're atrocious. So this being the end of the year, I think that they're going to be winding down a season of not getting into the playoffs. Or, I mean, even if they are in the playoff picture at this point, I don't think that they have what the weapons that they would need to compete with the Packers here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Packers. I mean, this Christmas Day game. Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to lose on Christmas. He's gonna win.
I think their Christmas is going to come the next week thereafter. Week 17, they got the Vikings, followed by week 18 with the Lions. If this isn't a gift, I don't know what is it. I think you're going to follow up with this season with 2 big old W's. What do you guys think on the last 2 weeks there for the Pack?
Yeah, same thing. I think they're going to end the season on a 3-game winning streak after having a more difficult than should be middle of the season. So I've got them both winning both games here.
Same. Like I said earlier, they sweep the division.
So Paul, I know you said already that Matt Stafford is your way too early MVP pick. Do you think that, though, looking at the schedule, that Aaron Rodgers could possibly back-to-back?
I'm sure he could if he wanted to, but because, I memean, let's face it, Aaron Rodgers, if he's locked in the way that he was last year, yeah, he's a perennial MVP. So of course he could go back to back. I just think that I don't know if he's lost a little bit of the fire, is just trying to tear something apart, but I don't see this being the right way to do it.
I mean, we hit Dump Danica pretty hard on the show, and he's engaged again. So I don't know. Maybe that fire in his belly is going to get put out a little bit from all the happiness in his life.
There's a whole bunch there that I'm not going to say on here, but when we're not recording, if we want to have that conversation. But yeah, there's I don't know. I think that, I mean, let's face it, MVP, it always goes down to a quarterback, and it probably shouldn't. And a lot of the time it goes down to a popularity thing because it's something that's voted on and not by the players or anything. It's the media who picks it. So I don't see him going back to back. I think that people are going to see Stafford have this amazing year where the Rams are going. And I think that that's going to be oh my gosh, look at this. This is so shocking. And anybody who pays attention to football is going to be like, who didn't see this coming? Are all you a bunch of idiots? So I think that Stafford's going to get one. He might not even deserve it, but I just think that with how well the Rams are going to do and him being the incoming piece, that everyone's going to say, the narrative is going to be, hey, look, he came here and look how good they are now. Even though not that long ago, they were playing for a Super Bowl, and look at all that talent on that team. So that's why I don't think that Rodgers will go back to back, but that's not saying that he can't.
So for the way too early predictions, I think for the Eagles, we're looking at anywhere between 7 and 10 losses, to be fair.
Well, to be fair.
Oh, don't say to be fair. Hate when people say to be fair. It sounds like to be fair.
Well, to be fair.
I think for the Packers, we're looking at what, 4 to 5?
I'm thinking 5, maybe 6, because of week 17 doing something, or not week 17, but the 17th game doing something dumb to the schedule. Because I mean, they say they care about player safety, but they're going to add in another regular season game. They don't care.
They're
about
absolutely going to go to 18. They're absolutely going to go to 18.
100% they're going to go to 18. And nothing about all the extra injuries that would come up is going to even matter to them, because there's one thing they care about, and it ain't injuries. It's not talent. The only thing they care about is those dollar signs.
So get rid of a preseason game and probably expand the roster a little bit, but that's coming. So
yeah, absolutely. And I would be totally fine if they got rid of 1 or 2 preseason games.
I think that how unfortunate. I hope they stay at 17 games for one reason. How unfortunate is it to be Jason Garrett at this point, like knowing that you can no longer go 500 and like just squeak into job security? Like, you either have a winning or a losing record, and let's face it, he's not going to have a winning record. So like, I think that this just demolished his possible head coaching career in the future.
Did you guys have anything else to wrap her up before we go?
Just the ridiculous asking price on Julio, a first-round pick for an injury-prone 32-year-old wide receiver. Come on.
I think they'll probably get it. What do you guys think?
I don't think they will.
No? What do you think, like 2 2s?
I think they're going to settle for A2.
A2.
A2 and a player, or just 2?
A2.
Wow.
Yep. Yeah, he's like Paul said, he's always hurt, and he is getting older, and his contract is pretty.
His last season was awful. It was really bad. Like, oh man, I think what you said is pretty apropos. Alex Smith, I think, had more starts than Julio did last year. Yeah. So it's going to be tough to see. So really quick for you, Terry, would you like to see him come to the Eagles?
I mean, it would be nice, but it's a ridiculous proposition that some of these guys on the team are apparently trying to recruit him here. There's no reason. We have receivers that we need to see if they can actually play or not. So no.
I think that would be one of the worst tests. I don't think that Julio would go there. I think he would sit out.
No, just purely if Terry would be happy if the Birds went and got him.
Okay. I think it'd be terrible for them, because you're going to give up draft capital, which I think desperately need.
I think they're holding on to that draft capital for Watson or somebody.
So yeah, I think that would be it.
Yeah, don't give away.
I'm going to feel so bad for you guys.
Don't give away that Dolphins first round pick, because I think Tua is going to be bad, and I think that's going to be a much higher pick than they expected it to be.
Yeah, I agree with you there, and if you guys signed Julio,
fun game. Wait, fun game. Who's going to have more yards, receiving yards, by the end of the season? Smith or Waddle?
Smith, because I don't think that there's enough talent in the secondary in the NFC East, so I could see him exploding in those games. And I think that Waddle's going to have to play Bill Belichick twice. So even if he is this top weapon, I mean, we've all seen what Bill Belichick does. He takes your best thing and either lets you use it and lets that beat you, or because you're not going to use anything else, or he just contains that one player. So if he contains Waddle twice, there's no way that Waddle will be close.
Yeah, the Eagles play a bunch of there's a lot of bad secondaries on their schedule. So I think Devontae's definitely going to have quite a few pretty good receiving games, and then in Miami, they seem to run the ball a lot more last year, because I think they were afraid to let Tua let it fly. So I think they're going to lean on the run a little bit, and they also have Devontae Parker there too. I think he's still there.
I'm pretty positive you're right.
So I mean, and he kind of showed up a little bit recently. So that's another guy that you're gonna have an option to get the ball to if Tua finds him.
I heard that Rager's going to play the slot, so I think that'll give Smith a pretty good chance. I think he's basically going to be the number one guy right off the bat.
Devontae Smith?
For the Eagles. Because they said Rager's going to play the slot, and so we don't. Who else is going to play on the outside? Probably, I I think drafting him was a mistake, but we're gonna have to live with that at this point.
No, I'm saying that.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying that putting Rager at the slot is a mistake. That's where you put Devontae because he's your biggest playmaker. He's tiny. You're gonna have to use like little picks to get him open or like really good play design. He's not a guy. I mean, he's not the guy who's going to go up and just get a jump ball. He's the guy who needs to come across the middle and not get destroyed. Or, I mean, if he comes across the middle and gets destroyed, like, can you imagine Brian Dawkins and with Devontae coming across the middle? Like, even at practice, I think that he would just destroy him. So I think that's a mistake.
I feel like Sirianni, he's kind of alluded to it in some of the things he said in some of his little pressers and stuff. And I feel like Devontae is going to be a number one in a sense that he's going to get the most targets for sure by far on the team. But I feel like they're going to move him around all over the place. I mean, I feel like he's going to be outside, inside. They're going to move him in motion and let him do all the special things that he showed that he can do. And plus his route running ability, you can stick him, you can put him in any situation. I think he'll be fine. Obviously he's going to be a rookie, so he's going to have a little bit of, some, room to grow. But I think actually Rager in the slot is, if that's where they put him, because he's more, I mean, he just didn't show a lot last year going against the outside, better corners. I think him going against the slot or nickel corner, I think he'll have more success because he's more quick than anything. But he's got to still hold on to the ball when it gets him if it hits him in the hands. So I'm hoping he's improved, because right now, if he doesn't, then that means that Justin Jefferson non-pick is going to really hurt even more, considering what our top two receivers could have been.
Well, boys, I want to thank you guys, as always, for coming out and doing the show with me tonight. I know I had a good time, as always. It's always nice to get a few more laughs in my life. And we will be back again next week with, I think we're going to do a draft bus show at some point. We were going to do it last week, and then just life happened. So I know at some point we want to get to that as well. And we still got a few weeks with the off season to kind of figure out exactly how we want to roll with everything. So we may even go live again next week. We're going to all talk about it and see what our schedules are looking like. So, but hey, if you're still here, make sure you hit like, make sure you subscribe. You know what to do. Hit the little bell. They'll notify you when we go live or drop a new episode. And I hope you guys just have a wonderful rest of your night.
It's my turn. You told me it was my turn.
You can talk all that you want to, yell and scream, you lost.
It is my turn.
You lost the game. Take as long as you want, you still lost.
Now
it
you're
looks
better.
fine now. Yeah.
Now you're better. I don't know what you did. You were like 100% better.
I literally
I
looked at the router. I gave the router a fucking look and I said, stop.